Welcome to the video, folks, and thanks for watching. This is your host, the Crane Man, and I'll be moving this content down the line for you. Let's get it flowing. Today we'll be looking at the new vaccine mandates announced in Chicago and Boston. We will then touch base with how the mandates are working in New York City. Following that, we'll look at some of the reactions to these mandates, and then we'll share a video to remind everyone where the politicization of the vaccines originated. To begin, we'll look at Mayor Michelle Wu of Boston's tweet thread. She says the best way for Boston to stay healthy and to support our communities is for everyone to be vaccinated. That's why starting on January 15th, she'll be medically segregating Bostonians based on their vaccination status. Hilariously, the bill is called Be Together, though it literally implements something that is the antithesis of what the name would imply. Digging into the details, the mayor says she's working with a timeline of January 15th. All people 12 and older must show proof of one dose of the vaccine. By February 15th, all people 12 and older must show proof of a full vaccination status, even though I'm not sure what the mayor means by that because that changes so frequently. March 1st, children 5 through 11 must show proof of one dose of the vaccine, and by May 1st, all people 5 and older must show proof of full vaccination status. That's right, your children aren't allowed to be in public, in indoor dining, or including bars and nightclubs, where they shouldn't be anyway, indoor fitness, or indoor entertainment, if they don't have proof of full vax by May 1st. Finally, the mayor says, we're also updating the City of Boston's policy to require vaccination of all city employees on the same Be Together timeline, ensuring our workforce will be safe. What's this? Pro sports teams will be exempt from Boston's COVID-19 vaccine mandate for indoor venues that is set to kick in on January 15th. On Monday, Mayor Michelle Wu unveiled a detailed plan that will require patrons 12 and older to show proof of vaccination before entering the premises of many indoor businesses, including entertainment venues. But there's an exemption for a professional athlete/sports team who enters a covered premises as part of their regular employment for purposes of competing. That's right. If you're a professional athlete and you go into a building to compete in a professional sport, you don't have to obey the mayor's mandate. But if you happen to be a City of Boston employee, well, you better get your papers in order. Moving on to Chicago and Mayor Lori Lightfoot's announcement. The mayor says, we didn't want it to get to this point, but given the situation we find ourselves in, we have no choice. That's right, she has no choice. Ignore all the states that don't have medical segregation mandates. This mayor has no choice. She goes on to say, beginning on January 3rd, you must show proof you are fully vaxxed to enter bars, restaurants, fitness centers, and entertainment/recreational videos where food/drink are served. This order will remain in effect, she says, until the city deems that the threat of COVID-19 to public health has diminished significantly. Well, that's not even slightly open-ended. And we all know how much these people love to give up power. The mayor continues by saying, to put it simply, if you've been living vaccine-free, your time is up. That's right, your time is up. If you wish to live life as with the ease to do the things you love, you must be vaxxed. This health order may pose an inconvenience to the unvaccinated, and in fact, it is inconvenient by design. So she admits here that she's doing this on purpose. She's designed it to be inconvenient to you if you don't obey her. You can't do what you want unless you obey. Well, Mr. Luke Rudkowski's tweeted an image that perfectly sums up what Mayor Lightfoot is telling you. There's an image of Harvey Weinstein in this photo, and it says, no one is forcing you to have sex with me, but if you refuse, you don't get to work. What's the difference between this and that? I don't see it. This health order may pose an inconvenience. You mean an inconvenience like having to sexually engage with Harvey Weinstein to get into a movie? An inconvenience like having to get an irreversible medical procedure to live your life like a normal person and not be medically segregated? Interesting. If we have a look at how Chicago's violence is doing this year, it's always stellar, but particularly stellar this year, it seems. Axios Chicago says 2021 is shaping up to be one of the worst years for deadly violence in Chicago history. Now, I'm not sure how that's possible. I've been paying attention to the violence in Chicago for north of a decade now, and wow. Over 1,000 homicides have already been recorded in Cook County in 2021, and this was written when there was still a month to go. 777 of those homicides were in Chicago at this point. 1991 was the worst year on record with 1,229. That's right. 2021 violence stats, the worst in nearly 30 years. But Mayor Lightfoot is going to Harvey Weinstein you into getting an irreversible medical procedure and ignore this. In this tweet, we can see a video of a man being arrested for not having his papers and trying to get food at Panera in Brooklyn, New York. I'm going to play a few seconds of this so you can see what happens.
You don't deserve to touch that flag, sir. Give him the flag. The flag does not touch the ground. The flag does not touch the ground. The Constitution. The Constitution of the United States is being violated. I cannot.
As you can see, the man is being arrested for not presenting the police with his papers. How dare you attempt to order food and a Panera Bread without your papers, sir? Well, if we do a quick check-in with how New York City is doing on crime this year, we can see that according to Nicole from the New York Post, New York City is just one more Grubhub delivery man, one more Times Square pedestrian, one more subway commuter, or one more teenage boy away from a grim milestone, surpassing last year's murder total up to this point in the year, after a record high increase in 2020. Last year, many wise people said, "Don't worry, murder was up because of the pandemic, don't you know?" But it was time to worry then, and it's time to panic now, this article says. During 2020, New York's murder rate shot up by 47%. That was one of the biggest one-year increases the city has ever seen by far. The closest it ever got before was in 1968, when murders rose 32%. The article continues to say, you'd think we'd see a glimmer of improvement in the murder numbers. Nope. As of mid-October, 382 New Yorkers and visitors were killed this year. Just one shy of the total through this time last year. For perspective, for the entire 7 years between 2013 and 2019, we never reached 382 murders for the full year, never mind in just 9.5 months. So it's good to see that New York police officers are arresting people for their medical status and not dealing with any of the statistics that are showing the problems with crime in that city here. Moving on, Miss Olivia Rondow says, only 28% of black New Yorkers between 18 and 44 are vaccinated. The black community largely does not trust Big Pharma nor the government, and they know this. The vaccine passports to be in restaurants, gyms, and theaters have created segregation once again. Well, Olivia, obey, come on. Mayor Lightfoot has no choice, and you can see that despite the crime in New York, we're going to get these unvaccinated people under control. And I just could not understand why the black community largely does not trust Big Pharma nor the government. Why on earth could that be? Continuing, myth-informed MKE tweets an image that shows segregated water fountains based on whether you're vaccinated or not vaccinated. And this is an obvious callback to the racial segregation days in America where water fountains were segregated by skin color. That's right, the same political party that enforced segregation by skin color is now enforcing segregation by medical status. And as Olivia points out, especially in New York City, this is disproportionately affecting people of color. But I have the white pill right here, people. It's okay. Dan Goldberg's parroting the POTUS. Quote, "We're not putting in the mandate to control your life. We're doing it to save your life." That's right. Medical segregation is going to save your life. And ignore the crime. Ignore the crime. You might get killed in the street, but ignore that. These medical segregation mandates are going to save your life. To conclude this video, I'd like to play a few seconds from a compilation the Republican Party tweeted out to remind people what the Democrats were saying before Biden took power, when Trump was the president and the vaccine was being developed.
I think it's going to be a very skeptical American public about taking the vaccine, and they should be.
That's right. Former Governor Andrew Cuomo tells you you should be skeptical. Now, of course, he completely pivoted once Biden was in control. But when Trump was in control, you should be skeptical.
We can't trust the president and take his word and take a vaccine that might cause harm to us.
That's right. Representative Ilhan Omar is telling you vaccine might cause harm to you. Again, she switched that tune once Biden took control, but when Trump was in power, she thought this might cause her harm. She thought so violently that she went on the news to tell people about it.
If and when the vaccine comes, and it's not likely to go through all the tests that needs to be and the trials that are needed to be done.
Let's just say
there's the current POTUS telling us it was unlikely that it would go through all the tests and trials that needed to be done. That sounds like a modern Republican talking point, according to the mainstream corporate media. People who say they don't trust it because they don't think it was tested for long enough are conspiracy theorists. Most people in the corporate media would label them that way anyway.
say there's a vaccine that is approved and even distributed before the election. Would you get it?
Well, I think that's going to be an issue for all of us.
There's Kamala saying that individuals, for all of us, an issue for all of us, individuals should make at least this is my translation, individuals should make their choice as to whether they're vaccinated or not, showing her hesitancy to embrace it.
When we finally do, God willing, get a vaccine, who's going to take the shot? Who's going to take the shot?
We will.
There's the POTUS asking, who will take that shot? Now, as soon as he became the president, you should be taking that shot. Matter of fact, we're going to medically segregate you if you don't take that shot. But before he became the president, he wanted you to think about that question. Who's going to take that shot? Thank you for watching this video. Please like this video and subscribe to the channel if you want more blue-collar commentary from the Rust Belt. Connect to Old Foundry Media socials at the links presented on the screen now. Hope to see you next time.